This is an overworld type map for a fantasy RPG. So I drew the tiles for the different terrain types and the map features, and I laid out a fairly expansive world with different towns and castles and so on. I never developed the gameplay that much, mostly just pop-up messages that come up when you interact with the different world features. There were a few secret passages and lost cities you could discover by following the clues in the game. This is a turn-based hot seat multiplayer game. The idea is that each player is commanding an army of giant robotic bears armed with different types of lasers, missile launchers, particle cannons, and what have you. The inspiration was games like BattleTech or Mech Commander, but I made the robots bears because I had some bear art assets lying around. So when it's your turn, you move each of your bears or make it fire its weapons at the tile that you click on. The different weapons have different recharge rates, so sometimes it's better to wait until the enemy is close to make sure you hit them with your best weapons, or at the times you want to shoot them when they're still a long way off before they shoot at you. One especially fun feature in this game was the ability to call in airstrikes, which would appear as a flashing red X on the map, and then a few turns later they'd create a large explosion, potentially destroying any enemy bears that had failed to move out of the area. This game could probably best be described as tower defense meets Settlers of Catan. You stamp down improvements on the different terrain types, sheep on the grass, farms on the wheat, etc. And these help you accumulate resources like gold, food, and bricks. Periodically, enemy armies move onto the screen and attack your castle, so you have to place archers to defend yourself. Over time, the attackers grow more and more powerful, so you have to keep expanding your kingdom in order to make sure you have enough income to afford the more powerful defenders. This was the last in a series of Spacewar games that I'd made over the years. In the past I had used random spaceship art from the internet, but for this game I made the spaceship models in 3D and exported them to bitmaps to try and give the art a bit more of a unified look. Spacewar 6 was also the only game in the series where I included a bit of a story in the game. The player was helping transport supplies to support a besieged starport in a civil war. So a lot of the missions involved escorting this big, bulky-looking orange ship past various types of obstacles. This game has a scenario based on Pokémon. The player controls a Pikachu that has been turned into a fire Pokémon in an experiment gone wrong. The eventual goal is to fix the machinery in the abandoned laboratory and turn yourself back into a lightning Pokémon. To do this, you have to explore the world and avoid obstacles such as hostile Pokémon. You can also use several powerful fire attacks, but using them too much can make Firachu overheat and deal damage to himself. This is a simple but surprisingly addictive little game. I mostly played it against my older brother, with one player on the numpad and the other player on the WASD keys. Each player pilots a bird and attempts to pick up weapons and shoot the other player's bird. The game has something of a surrealist aesthetic, in that the characters are birds, but they're in outer space, and the weapons include garbage bags full of slime, mice that scurry across the screen, and of course, the dreaded snowplow. There's also a pickup that increases the number of darts fired by the bird's basic weapon, so you can gain a decisive advantage if you accumulate enough darts without dying. This is a platformer based on the character from Calvin and Hobbes. You fly around in space and land on different planets to fight aliens and collect green crystals. One exciting level is the Gorkon Death Station. First, you have to disable the defenses from in outer space. Then, after you land on the station, you have to find switches to open doors and to alter the gravity level in the station. Finally, you can activate the station's self-destruct system, and then you have to rush back through the level and escape before it all explodes. This game came about when my little brother and I had a competition to see who could design a better game about a randomly selected topic in 1 hour. The topic we selected was Wascana Lake, which is a lake near where we live. so all of the art, music, and sound effects had to be made from scratch and completed within the hour. In my game, you control a goose who wants to eat plants and sink kayaks. You can pick up the clouds and then use them to rain on the kayaks until they sink. Or you can drop lightning if it's a thundercloud. It's Raining Missiles was closely based on the Atari game Missile Command. Missiles rain down from the top of the screen, and you click to intercept them with your own anti-ballistic missiles. The trick is to stop all the incoming missiles without running out of missiles yourself. Later levels feature blue missiles that are equipped with multiple independent re-entry vehicles, and stealth bombers that will fly across the screen and drop a whole series of bombs unless quickly destroyed. Silly Showdown proved to be my most popular game among friends and family. The gameplay is similar to Super Smash Bros., but the characters and stages are taken from my other games, and from games made by my brothers. Each character has different attacks, and you use them to knock your opponents off the edge of the screen. You can also pick up items such as the World War I artillery piece.